Hi, this is Sonia with Artsy Solutions, and I just want to show you some of the stuff that I made with my latest digital kit on Etsy with Multimedia Crafts Digital. And this is the AlchemHistory paper line. And I named it that just because it has like a mixture of alchemy, chemistry, history, you know, just a vintage kind of look to it. So let's get to it. This is just something I made. I just stitched around the edge. Same thing here. I just added, fussy cut out these little, I guess you call them hinges. And here's a little tag. Now fussy cut out the H, added some glossy accents, stitched around the edge, and just made like a little pocket tag. And then there's a little tag in here. And did the same thing, just stitched around the edge. And I stitched around this little, I had some coffee stained paper, and I just stitched around it and made like a little booklet, a little journaling spot. And I fussy cut out this image. I fussy cut it out, took some ink pen and glossy accent and went over some of it just to kind of make it pop. And this right here is just an old package from something I purchased. And so I just stitched it on here and made like a little pocket back there. So this folds over, and then just took one of the papers and covered up some of the stitching that was behind there. So that's the first thing. And let me just put these back in here right quick. Okay, well, we'll get that later. And then I just made like a little booklet with some of the papers, some coffee dye stained papers. Here's another one. And these are just some of the different pages of what they look like. And I printed them out front to back, some of them. And they make really great journaling spots. That's that little hinge that I had cut out. And here's another little booklet. And you can put like a little tag or something down there. And here's another little booklet. And a tag, it's a pocket tag. Just add something to it. And then I liked the image that was on this one, and so I just added some glossy accents to it as well. I just took the ink pen and went around it, you know, highlighted it, and made it shine as well. And then I just made some embellishments that I fussy cut out and took the pen to and added the glossy accents to them. And you can just add these to all kinds of different, you know, steampunk looking type journals and stuff like that. So stay tuned and I'll show you what comes with the kit and how I made some of these. And I just want to show you the latest Etsy digital kit that I have. It's a 8.5 by 11 printable digital kit, and there's 12 different designs. So I printed some of these out front to back on some of them, and some of them I just did single-sided, and I even scaled down a few. So this is one of the first ones, and then here's a second one, a third one, a fourth one, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, and then 12th. And what I did was, like I said, some of them, I changed the size on it, the scaling, because I'm going to use them, some of the things I'm going to use for like envelopes and different things, and I just printed out extras, because I can cut some of these out and use these as embellishments and stuff. So, and then I did some of these, I just printed some of them double-sided. But yeah, and I also printed some of them out on 110-pound cardstock, and then others out on just regular copy paper, because to journal on, it doesn't need to be like super thick, you know. So I'm just going to show you a quick and easy way that I'm going to use this. So for the ones that I printed out on like really thick paper, I think I'm going to cut out the, like some of the images. For example, this one was printed single-sided, so it's not going to matter what's on the back. But I really like this circle, and so I'm just going to cut it out. Okay, so it's cut out, but I can still use the papers. So I'm going to hold on to those because I'm going to trim those out too in a moment. But right now I'm focusing on making embellishments, and I'm going to cut this out. And I also like this little H right here, so I'm going to cut it out as well. And I like a lot of these right here, so I think I'm going to cut out this, the clock and key, in this little area right here. I'm just going to start right here. And finally, I'm going to cut this out. So I've got these cut out, and what I'm going to do is reinforce them by just simply gluing them to some black cardstock. And then after I glue them on and let it dry, I'm just going to cut them out, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I cut all these out, and then what I'm going to do, let me just zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see my goal. I'm just going to take a pen, and I'm just going to kind of go around the edges, and you can use a pen, or you can use some distress inks or something else. When you go over these, it just kind of enhances what you're doing. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see a little bit better. But yeah, just kind of trace around some of the edges. distress, and I kind of went over the edges with some pins and things like that. So what I'm going to do is take it to the next level, and I'm just going to add some Ranger Glossy Accents. And I'm just going to put them on certain areas. And let me zoom in for you. Like kind of going around the gear, well, not gears, but bolts or whatever these are, just to kind of bring out the darkness of the colors. And then I'm just kind of going around the inner shape of this. And what this is going to do is basically just highlight where I've added shadows and just make it more pronounced. Let me just zoom back out a little bit. So I added some around these little areas. And then I'm just going to put some around some of these little bolts. And I'm just going to let that dry. And then I'm going to come in and do this one the same way. I'm going to add some here. Okay, and so while the rest of those embellishments are drying, I'm just going to come through and I'm going to cut out some of this leftover paper. Okay, so here's some leftover scraps that I cut out. And I can make some tags and clusters and all kinds of different things with them. So that's what I'm going to do to start out with. I'm going to make some tags out of some of these. The ones that are I'm going to make journaling spots with them. And they're going to be pretty much almost the size that they already are. I'm just going to fold this one in half. And I'm going to fold this one in half. I think I'll turn this one into like a pocket or something. And then these will be some tags. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch a hole. Well, yeah, on this bottom one. It's kind of like punching two sheets of paper, so I'm not sure if I should do that or not. It worked. I'm just going to create some borders, or attempt to create borders. If I can get it lined up right. I messed it up. Yeah, it didn't turn out too well. So I'm just going to take this little designer scissors, And I'm just going to go straight across. And that'll still give it like a little border. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it works. It'll work. Then I'm just going to take these corner punches and I'm just going to punch the corners. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And then for some of these tags, I'm just going to, I guess I'll distress the edges of some, and I'm just going to use this pigment black ink, black tie. And we're just using up the leftover papers. And I've only used, what, like 3 sheets of paper so far. And we're getting quite a bit of stuff from it. I've decided to come back through and add some brown vintage photo distress oxide. Because even though I distressed it with black, to me it looks better with a little bit of brown. Since the tag is going to be double-sided, and it just gives it a little more character, and you know that you can use both sides and it doesn't look so bland. And then I'm going to trim these little hinges. Although when it printed out, the entire hinge didn't print. You can always print them at a smaller scale. Instead of 100%, you can maybe scale it down to like 90%, and then just kind of see what happens with that. But I like to take a lot of the embellishments, or I like to make embellishments out of some of the graphics that are on the papers. And then you can add them to folders and pockets and turn them into like little tuck spots and things like that. Belly bands, all that stuff. So, then I'm going to do this the same way. I'm just going to take an ink pen and kind of create a circle. It's not going to be perfect, but close enough. Then I'm just going to distress the edges. And then I'm going to add it to some black cardstock and add some glossy accents to it and do it the same way I did the embellishments that are still drying. Okay, so I've gotten some of these leftover papers already distressed and stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the papers that I printed out double-sided, and these are the ones that I printed out on just regular copy paper. I'm just going to cut them in half. Actually, I'm going to cut it in half on the 8.5 by 11 side. So half of that, let's see, it was what, 4 1/4. It's going to be less than that because when I take this white part off, it's going to be shorter than that. But I'm still going to just go ahead and cut it at 4 1/4 inches. Make sure I have it on here even. So 4 1/4. And then on the 11-inch side, I'm going to do the same thing and cut it at 5.5 inches. And then I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to cut these little margins off. And when I cut the margins, I might just cut it at just a little bit bigger than just 1/4 of an inch, because that's what most of them are. That way I can make sure that all of these are going to be the same size when I do cut them. So these no longer have margins, and you have some journaling paper. And I'm going to create itty bitty booklets, little mini booklets with these. Okay, so now that we have that complete, let's see, some of these are going to be, so these are the same size, these are close to the same size. So I'm just going to make 2 booklets, and I'm just going to take some of the papers. Oh, I love these, the double-sided ones. I'm going to I really don't want to mess up the image of those. So what I'll do is I'll take this one. I'm going to cut it in half. Now this is the one I printed out at 90%. I scaled it down and I printed it out at 90%. So what I'm going to do first is just go ahead and completely cut it out so I can know specifically how big this image is. Then I'm just going to fold it in half. That way I know for certain that I'm going to get this and this on the bottom edges. And then I'm just going to take a little bit off. Roughly about, let me see, let me open it up. About an inch off of it, which is still fine. Okay, so now I've got the cover for this booklet. And then for this one, I'm going to make it a vertical covering. I'll just cut this to fit. And I'm going to fold it in half like so. And then this is going to go inside of here. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut this in half because this is going to have a vertical, it's going to become a vertical booklet. And then it's going to go like so. So I'm going to stitch going across here, and then I'm just going to stitch this one. This one will also get a stitch going across, but I'll put a pocket or something on the inside as well. So, perfect opportunity for me to use this paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to cut it down. Actually, since this is already cut, instead of making it into a tag, I can just fold it roughly where I think I want to put this, and then just cut. I'll just punch this in the middle to show where the tab or the pocket's going to go. And actually this pocket's still a little bit too tall, so take some of that down. Then we'll add this pocket here. Okay, and then I'm just going to distress it. Might keep that. I think I will, and add it somewhere. I'm gonna glue this on. Just a little bit of glue just to kind of hold it in place, because I'm going to stitch it on there anyway. So I'm just putting very little glue glue on here. And of course, this is going to get a stitch. I think I'll make this a pocket. I just have to trim the side down a little bit. And then add glue, just a little bit. I'm just going to distress the edges around all of these, and then I'm going to stitch them together. Okay, so I like this piece of this writing, so I'm just going to glue it to some black cardstock. And just enough to give it like a little black border. And then I'll cut it out. And then I'm going to glue it to some cream color cardstock. Yeah. And this is, I'm just going to fold this, well, I'm going to cut this piece of paper into 8.5 by 11 size. So let me just go ahead, let's see, there's 10 and 11. And 8.5. And then I'm going to fold this over but not quite all the way over. And this is going to, I'm going to attach this to this. And then I'm going to put some more black paper here. Matter of fact, here's a little piece that I can cut down. Let me take some of this off. Okay, this is basically going to come here. Or I could just have it come here and like meet this in the middle. I think I'll do that. I'll just go ahead and glue this. Here. It's kind of in the center, but and then that will go there, like in the center. And then I have this right here that I like. It's a packaging. I'm not sure where it came from. It had something in it. But I like how it still has this little closure. So I can store some stuff in here. So I'm going to stitch it on here so it'll stay. What I should have did was just stitched. I should have stitched it to the black first and then put this on. But that's fine. Or, yeah, I'll just stitch it going up this way around the sides. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And I'm going to stitch around the edge of this as well when I go ahead and stitch the rest of this stuff. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I've stitched quite a few things and kind of like made collages and little booklets, and I just took some coffee dyed paper and just stitched some papers in, you know, so now I'm going to, I went ahead and stitched around this one. So now I need to add something to this. But when I stitched it, it just leaves like a outer residue. Well, not residue, but like a, when I stitch this inner frame, I need something to cover that up. This and that, because to me it doesn't look right. So, I love this image that's in the center. So what I want to try to do is cut it to where it'll fit in the middle. So I'm just going to kind of like, let's see. I'm just going to take a little bit off the top. Because I want this complete image in the center to kind of cover up the middle of this. So I'm going to cut it down just a little bit below the 55. So I'll take just a little bit more off the top than off the bottom. Okay, so I think that's going to fit fairly well. And then I'm just going to fold this over to the point where I know it'll be almost in the center. And then I know where to cut. Ooh, no, because then I'll take part of that off. I'm going to have to take off some of the sides, some of this side. Good portion of this side. And then just a little bit of this side. A little bit more off. Okay. And oh, this is perfect. I can just take a little piece of this off. Like a 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm just going to glue this on. Okay, so I just added this to some black cardstock just so it could have like a little border. So I'm just going to glue this on here. And this is just going to cover up the stitching. Oh, you know what? I should have left that side open to make a pocket, but that's okay. But that is an option. So I'm just going to flip this over and I'll glue this on there. Hope it's not too busy, but I think it'll be okay. And maybe I'll put like some brown paper or something. I'll just go ahead and glue it on there. So it's only going to come out but so far. So I need to put the glue to about where these little lines are. So somewhere along this little area. Okay, so you have basically this little like folio, I guess you could call it, or something. I'm not even real sure what type of name to give it. Oh, and when I stitched this, I left some room behind here to put something else. It's like a little tuck spot. So you have your tuck spot, and then you have your original area where you can put some stuff down in there. So, wonder if this will fit. That's a little too big, but this could probably fit behind it. Yeah, and I can just kind of leave it upward like that. Let's see. And then I want to kind of build this up, so I want to put like an embellishment or something inside of here. That's too big. Oh, that would look good right there. Let's see. Oh, I think this will look better. So I'm going to put this here. And it's going to be somewhat like a tuck spot. No, I'm not even going to make it a tuck spot because I want to make sure that it's going to stay secure. So I'll just completely glue it on here. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, and then I'll just put these hinges in here. I was going to use them as a tuck spot, but I don't know. I might leave just enough room that I can tuck something in there. think I'll leave that, but I'll put the H on this tag so it's not just kind of bland. So this is basically it. But I just wanted to show like what you could make with it. And you can use these embellishments on other projects. But there are just so many things you can do just using up this set. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and this is an inspirational and you really like this paper line. So go to my Etsy shop at Multimedia Crafts Digital, and I'll have a link in the description. And continue to watch my videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my other videos. Like, comment, share, follow, and check out my social media sites and my blog. And thanks for watching.